Man, I hope the dog doesn't bark.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Got the truth in my back. Leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Leftist judges twisting, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Storms, I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air, my voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall, sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight, torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, Rose will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting from North Idaho in an actual free state. I happen to be this guy. I am your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. And what I want to tell you is, remember what you're about to hear for the next 2 hours consists of my opinion and my opinion only. I am doing the job that the American media maggots refuse to do. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. And as you well know, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks in the saloon, along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, clarity, tradition, and common sense for normal people like you and me. So politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here in the saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze is not. Tonight, it is already March 3rd, the year of our Lord 2026, and welcome to everyone, you, and the person behind you. Don't think I don't see you. I should also care to point out that if you're going to be somewhere, the where you need to be is in our swagalicious, sumpalicious, plush, wonderful, palatial, and resplendent chat room. The fire is roaring. It's there. It's just for you. So come one, come all. Please imbibe your favoritist and don't be late. Also, I want to tell you this. Look up above in the sky. It's a bullet. It's a plane. No, it's BZ pointing up to the numbers that the SHR Media YouTube channel has right now. We have over 1,170 subscribers to the SHR Media YouTube channel. Now, a mere meager, say, roughly a month ago, we hit the magic number of 1,000 subscribers. So I don't have the exact number of days in front of me, but in, I'd say, roughly a month, we've accumulated another 170 subscribers to the channel. And probably one of them is you. If you haven't, we invite you clearly, pleasantly, with smiles on our gesichts, to say, come forward, come one, come all. Subscribe to the channel if you would, please. And while you happen to be doing that, if you're on YouTube, please remember this. Click on that bell that you'll see if you're watching on the SHR Media YouTube channel right now. And that bell means that you're going to, theoretically, get notifications for the shows. So hit the bell, if you would, please, for my show and for all the other shows that you're going to find on SHR. Of course, I am here tonight. I'm going to be pimping the product. I'm going to make sure that you're well aware of all the SHR Media hosts, the likes of which we had earlier this morning. We had Earl Big E Jackson on the network, 9 a.m. Pacific, and noon Eastern. And I'm going to play a clip from Earl's show in just a moment before I go over some important safety tips and rules and observations, notations, regulations. See page 60, if you would, of our contract. And all the NGOs are definitely out. But I'm going to play what I consider to be one of the finest, a portion of what I think was Earl Jackson's finest show that I have heard from him to date. Now, I shouldn't be saying this talking out of school, by the way. If you enjoy my shirt, everyone who knows me knows, yeah, that's BZ. But I'm going to be playing a portion of Earl's show from earlier this morning. And as I mentioned to Earl on a number of levels, I thought it was one of his finest shows. So I would highly recommend, when you have some time after you go to bed after this show tonight and you hit CP time, go check out Earl's show from today, March 3rd. I am definitely of the opinion that Earl just simply knocked it out of the ballpark tonight. Now, before we do this, tonight's show is going to be about, in many ways, what I call the love of evil. Why the love of evil? What's the deal? Why are Democrats so wrapped up in it? Why are leftists, anarchists, globalists, Islamists, Islam so wrapped up in it? And even, the anarchists on the left, the donkeys, the Ilhan Omars, the deep state, the Newsoms, et al. Why are they in love with evil? And everything that is possibly good about this country seems to be reviled. That's the dealio with the show. Before I go into some politics and some things, I hit one of my favorite sites for news updates before I came here. Before I do that, though, did anybody happen to see the red moon last night? Well, I did. And I took a photograph. And I went in and enhanced it a little bit with some detail. And quite frankly, that photo shocked the living shit out of me. It's true. Right in the grass, right there, late at night, early in the morning. Here's a Jake update. He's doing really, really, really well. We're surprised. We still have to feed him water, but he's eating more and more on his own. He's not gaining any weight. He still looks like a Hindi cow, which is very sad. But the dude is an absolute trooper. I don't think I've seen a more innocent, but a stronger dog who just doesn't know that he's hindered by so many things. Dude is blind. I could go into the litany of things, but I'm not. There's no time for it. There's so much to talk about. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I addressed was this funny thing. There's a primary going on in Texas, and some really strange things are occurring. Now, on the Democrat side, you had Jasmine racist, James Tallarico, who came out of nowhere, Ahmad Hassan, a dude that I've never heard of before, John Cornyn, who needs to go the fuck away, Ken Paxton, who carries baggage, and Wesley Hunt, who apparently is just not pulling well at all. I don't have any graphics or any articles to show you at this point right now, but I'm looking at NBC News Decision 2026 live, and in the Texas House District 2 primary results, it looks like in terms of Republicans, Steve Toth, T-O-T-H, is kicking the living shit out of Patch Crenshaw. A lot of people, there's another gentleman in there named Martin Etwop. Martin is pulling a massive 795 votes. He's got about 1.8%. Dan is getting his arse kicked, 57.6%, 39.1%. And in the Democrat side for House District 2 in Tejas, a dude named Sean Finney wins the Texas primary. But let's continue. I'm looking at Texas Senate results 2026 live. And baby, I'm telling you, it's going to be close. Now, the Democrat side, there were three. Tallarico, in terms of sheer numbers, is ahead right now, 51.6% to Crockett's 47.1%. Ahmad Hassan doesn't even register, basically. I think we're looking at a runoff on the Republican side between John Cornyn. I'm a little sad on that. Ken Paxton, I do grok that concept because Ken is pulling some various Tejas bagage behind him. Wesley Hunt, literally 13.0%, 198,000 votes. For Ken Paxton, he's got 621,000, and Cornyn Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. It just updated just now. Hunt hasn't changed. Ken Paxton, 625,000. John Cornyn, 652,000. So right now it kind of looks like it's a dead heat running to going to a runoff. There's a guy named Dave Wasserman, and I'm looking at his Twitter feed right now. And he said, frequently when you go to X, Twitter, you'll find, if you haven't already, that the comments within are frequently as, if not more, entertaining than the actual meat of the post itself. So somebody says, okay, Steve Toth defeats Dan Crenshaw. The guy down below says, get ready for Crenshaw to spend the rest of his days voting Democrat. Okay, all right. I get that. Somebody says, and they're talking about now Tallarico and Crockett. Somebody said, I hope Jasmine stays in politics. We need peeps like her. And somebody says, wait, what? What state is this? And a lot of people don't know what's going on. So anyway, we know that's going to be a runoff. Here's a really strange story. And this doesn't just, it's not limited to Texas, but for fuck's sake, it's all over the fruited plains. This is from NBC. Texas Supreme Court temporarily blocks a judge's order, a leftist judge's order, to extend polling hours in Dallas County. No other county, just Dallas County. So let's see, if I do the calculations in my brainulus, what that tells me is leftist judge, disappointed with the numbers coming out for the Democrats, decides that the black-robed anarchist him or herself is going to interfere, and then subsequently gets overridden by the Texas Supreme Court. Also, this just in, Ali Khamenei's son, Mujtaba, is now named Iran's new supreme leader. And I thought we had already solved that problem. Apparently we hadn't. We're going to be talking about this very shortly. Epic Fury updates, they'll be coming. But the other thing about this is I'm surprised that the original Khomeini didn't come back, because I'm sure that a district judge here overturned his death and ensured that he was going to return. Which is ever so. I mean, if that's major tongue inserted in cheek, master of sarcasm, answers to none, filter broken, fat guy right here. The other thing that I want to talk about, and I want to show people right now, is, okay, this is a different t-shirt. I get it. And I did this once before on the show. But the reason I want to do this now is to show everyone that these aren't just pie in the sky t-shirts. You can go to Mission Ready Men. You can order the shirts there, /collections. And for example, this is the beautiful SHR Media 250 Reasons t-shirt. And the reason I'm again holding these up for you tonight is so that you can see these things are real and the graphics are great. And if you want to show your patriotism and your support of SHR, I would highly recommend them. I'm going to play Earl in a few minutes. The other thing I want to show you is his shirt, which is great. Great graphics on all of these. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Mrs. Earl designed all of these. They're great. There are all sorts of things that you can see that are on the sleeve. SHR on one side, Seven Armors on the other. Then, of course, everyone's favorite. Everyone's favorite. is my shirt. There are thousands of orders. Earl is so backed up on this shirt, he estimates it's going to be taking another year to print all the demand. There are at least a couple thousand demands for just this shirt. Great looking shirt, and there you go. But wait, there's more. If you talk about people being on the precipice, and you like to be there, on the precipice every Monday and Wednesday night, well, there's no other shirt to get than the one involving the Edge of Liberty. Sean's Edge of Liberty podcast. This is a beautiful shirt of rebus. As you all know, there are two more. Then, of course, have you ever thought that you wanted to reeve? Or have you ever thought that you wanted to leave the R off the word reeve and just Eve? On Monday nights and Friday nights, the Reaver of Common Sense is on, and by God, he's got a wondrously bloody shirt for your purchase. Now, if you want to just Eve, then you can get this shirt and cut off the R. That's a great shirt. And then I got one more that I wore. I wore this first. Damn, I've already gone through 23 minutes. That's okay. It's a 2-hour show. It's my show. I can do whatever the hell I want with it. Kids, are you ungovernable like me? Are you unfiltered like me? Then sure as shit, this is the shirt for you. And I'm showing you these shirts just to let you know that, hey, we have got some great merch, great swag, and we invite you invitingly in an invitation engraved just for you to come buy the shirts. And again, that's Mission Ready Men. Go to Mission Ready Men /collections, because Mission Ready Men's Mrs. Mission Ready, she creates all these great shirts, and the graphics are superior in all respects. So after making note of that, we're going to go into, as it indicates for the show, why the love of evil for leftists. And I think you're going to see some fairly evil stuff. And before we begin with that, I've shown these books to people before, and I know maybe I'm making a massive assumption here, because I'm going to go into a little bit of who's who in the zoo before the break at the bottom of the hour. But 2 books, if you care about Islam, or if you don't mind speaking Farsi, maybe you should be concerned about Islam. But I'm getting nothing from the authors here. And I've tried to get these guys on. But Lee Smith, for example, who wrote this book, he's all over the place. He doesn't just talk about Islam, he talks about politics. So if you want to know about Islam, the nature of it, the strong horse, power politics, and the clash of Arab civilizations, this is the book that I would highly, 2 books, one of 2, that I would highly recommend that you read. Because the nature of Islam is such that, any allegiance, any alliance can be made at any reason, for any time, for any nature. And as they've said for quite some time, and as I've said anytime I mention Islam, the axiom in general about Islam is, okay, me against my brother and me against my cousin, me, my brothers, and my cousins against the tribe, and then me, my brothers, my cousins, and my tribe against the outsider, which, by the way, is you, infidel. And the final book that I'm going to recommend. This is by David Price Jones. It's not a 2025 book, but it's still incredibly applicable if you want to know how and why the Middle Eastern version of Islam practices. How and why. Great book. And again, the first thing that you must understand is the nomadic and tribal nature and barbaric nature inherent within Islam. It is absolutely, no doubt about it, 110% incompatible with any Western civilized nation. Now, in some fashion, I can understand when they say, Western civilization, truly in a certain percentile, you're fairly corrupt. Well, yeah, that's what you get with freedom, but you have to fight the fight anyway. We're not going to let Islam win, and just as we're not going to let trannies win, and we're not going to let pedos win, and we're not going to normalize and accept the paraphilia and the bizarre ass fetishes of people who are genetic mutants and are brain damaged. I see no other way to get around that. And before I take a break, because we are going to be talking about, we are going to be having, as I indicated up front, there's going to be this at the very beginning, updates about Epic Fury, because, oh my God, if you happen to miss it, holy HMOG. People were talking about Pete Hegseth, and I certainly did not see Pete Hegseth coming out for for DOD, or now Department of War, and I cannot say that I am disappointed in Pete Hegseth. It takes a war fighter, I believe, to understand the nature of war if you don't even turn a page of Clausewitz, or if you don't even turn a page of Sun Tzu. And I think we've got the right guy in the right job. But if you want to, and we at SHR, we make fun of this guy all the time. He's nothing but a rushing litany of memes. There have been so many memes made about this guy that there's even a great, let me see if I can remember the X location. I think it's called Marco's on X. I should have put it up so I could show it to you. Maybe after the break, I'll do that. Go to Marco's Rubio Jobs on X, and you'll see all the jobs that Marco Rubio has acquired from President Donald John Trump, ONB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. But if there's anybody that is, to me, that illustrates the fact that the fucking adults are in the room, and the dementia, America hating, addled auto pen pieces of crap from 46 are gone, and they're not going to return. There, it's hasta la vista, baby. Gone. No more, no less. Marco Rubio, as Secretary of State, had, I think I have 3 illustrations of what he was talking about today. And he skewered journalists. As far as I'm concerned, that's his job, because the American media maggots are absolutely incurious. They would rather just peruse press releases, and they don't know what a follow-up question is, except if they're talking to Donald Trump or any of his ilk or anybody in his cabinet. Other than that, follow-up question, it describes itself. Fuck. Follow-up question. FUQ. And that's something that the American media maggots absolutely know nothing about. When I come back, and thanks for being here. Thanks for being in the chat room. Thanks for subscribing and watching tonight. And also, thanks to KLRN for simulcasting the show tonight. Folks, you're all so precious.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passionate.
Are you looking for bold and honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. It's the first half hour gone. Quick like a bunny. Zip, zippy, gone, zippalicious. And to everybody who's watching tonight, I greatly appreciate it. A programming note that I'd like to tell everyone about. Let's see, do I have the book? Yes, I do have the book. I found it. Okay, programming note for the show. This coming Thursday night, same bat time, same bat channel, I'm going to be talking to a gentleman by the name of Ron Owens, Jr., and he wrote this book called Muzzled Truth. And so Ron Owens was the California Department of Public Health administrator who essentially ended up rejecting the Wuhan 19 treatment and noted the various vaccine health risks. And he was, well, throttled and muzzled, as you can see from the book right here. Now, we're still in negotiations. I offered him the full 2 hours of the show. Don't know if he's going to take it, but it's there for his availability. And essentially what he said, and California, always spelled it with a K, was not particularly pleased with him. But in the most recent interview that I can find of him, he labels the vaccine poison. And I have numerous instances of that and a whole bunch of questions for him. So if you yourself have any questions for him, you can put them in chat. You can, well, on Thursday night, the chat room will be open. And if you have any nice questions for him and you're not insulting and being a dickweed, then I will be happy to ask him some of the questions that you may have. But I think this is going to be a very interesting interview with Ron Owens. I told you that I thought that this morning's show, the Mission Ready Men Briefing with Earl Big E Jackson, was probably one of the finest, if not the finest show that he's proffered to date. And I can remember being in the green room with him. We have a little betwixt and between ourselves area where we talk and communicate with regard to our shows, the podcasts, how we're going to handle things that sort. And Earl said, I've just had this really not fun, but I guess weird feeling that I'm just a little off this morning. It didn't seem like it went that well. And I had to correct him immediately. Dude, you walloped it out of the park. And the same is true for all the people that are speaking in podcasts all through the nation, the world. You can do a show where sometimes you think, I just kicked butt. And upon watching it, because I rewatch every show that I do, and upon rewatching, I discovered, that was really quite uninspirational. And then sometimes when you think, I was kind of lackluster tonight on that, and then I watch it, and then I think, or I get feedback, and people say, man, dude, you were on your game. Well, I'm telling you, Earl was on his game. So you can go to the SHR Media YouTube channel and watch it. I would highly recommend it. The title of his show for today, soon to be tomorrow, but for today, March 3rd, was Operation Epic Fury, No More Half Measures. And I kindly now step aside for Earl Jackson.
If there is a crusade today, it is fought with strength, courage, fidelity, not steel, not bullets. That's not to say that that is not ever necessary. You should be prepared for that when it comes to defending yourself and your family and your community. Absolutely. A man should be capable of defending himself and his family in that way. This is a theme that we've talked about throughout this show. Strength. Strength is order. Rage and outbursts, that's chaotic. And that doesn't help anyone. The medieval crusaders, they were kings and rulers acting under authority. Modern Christians are citizens under law. So what you can govern, your home, yourself, your habits, your church, your vote. You can't govern armies or states or wars, but you can govern yourself and you can govern your family. And that is where what I refer to as a modern day crusade would start.
Earl is absolutely 100% correct. And that's why every Tuesday and Thursday morning, I highly recommend that you go see and watch Earl's Big E, Earl Big E Jackson's show, The Mission Ready Men Briefing. I mean, if there was somebody that was, and this is, trust me, this was just an outtake. I don't want to replay Earl's show. Only Earl can do Earl. Only Sean can do Sean. Only BZ can be fat and bulbous and ancient and hairy and a reprobate. Only Jersey Joe can be the Ever. Only Lyle can be the new guy, full of bullstein. But we each do an individual show in our own way. Again, highly recommended. Go to SHR Media, the SHR Media YouTube channel, and watch his show. If I had the time, but it would be ridiculous, I'd play the whole thing. I had nothing but great things to say about Earl's show. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely fantastic. By the way, this just in, I should tell you, the U.S. Navy is continuing its fight against global warming with the creation of several new reefs in the Gulf of Oman. So who'd have thunk that we would have been quite so considerate about the environment? Ladies, please continue. This just in, however, before we get into the meat of the matter, so to speak, about the Epic Fury updates, especially with Marco Rubio, I want to go into this. And when I first saw this, I thought, AYFKM, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, you recall just a couple of days ago, the Austin shooter, the guy from, I think he was Senegal. He was from Senegal. And it's guys, I think he entered in 2013. Been here a while. Lone wolf guy, terrorist guy, which is now acknowledged by the FBI. Wearing a shirt, property of Allah. You know, that's a clue even the FBI can recognize, which is when you know, upon consideration, that's kind of shocking. And then imagine their surprise and chagrin when they pulled up his hoodie and found this underneath. Hey, look, an Iran flag, perhaps peppered with a few holes. And perhaps he weighed just a hair more in death than he did in life, which is okay with me. I has no problem with that, except this. The 3 police officers that stopped this guy, he was a mass shooter, killed 2, wounded 14, on a bar in Austin, Texas. They're being forced to stand before a grand jury to consider whether or not charges are going to be brought against them for stopping the shooter. You know, parenthesis, for doing their damn job, end of parenthesis. So it's known in this area, the DA completely controls the grand jury. And it's a he, decides what evidence that they're going to see and what they're going to be prohibited from seeing. The presence of something is important. Frequently, the lack of presence of something is equally and can be equally important. So when these officers in Austin should be considered heroes for dropping a Muslim fuckstick like this, they're instead going up in front of a grand jury. And people in response to this decided that, you know, I don't think we're real pleased about that. So something else occurred recently, and that's not to say that your public pressure, your opinions en masse don't work. So this is from Fox News. The headline says, Texas DA says no charges for police and terror attack response amid criticism of mandatory grand jury review. Following intense criticism, this came out today. Following intense criticism and a public warning from Governor Greg Abbott, Travis County DA Jose Garza has officially cleared the officers who stopped the deadly shooting. That wasn't his first desire and his first wish. So I thought, hey, BZ, you're fat, but you still have access to the internet. Why don't you do something that predominantly the American media maggots won't? And that's look for shit. And so I decided that I was going to do that. Can you believe what it is that I found? Okay, so Travis County DA Jose Garza was in fact heavily funded by political action committees, PACs supported by dun dun dun, because I don't have a producer, I have to do it myself, George Soros during his 2020 campaign. So in the 2020 election, Soros shipped $650,000 over to this piece of crap leftist Jose Garza, which in turn spent about $400K to $600,000 in digital media, mailers advertising to support Garza's campaign against the incumbent who was named Margaret Moore. Okay, so that was 2020. Now, of course, but wait, as BZ frequently says, wait, there's more. In 2024, so he decides that he wants to get reelected again. So Garza once more receives financial support linked to the Soros-backed Texas Justice and Public Safety PAC, which donated to the organizations backing this guy. So with that summary, you can understand why you're getting what you're getting. So the dude who should be getting a reward, or the three officers who should be getting a reward for downing this muzzy animal, now will not have, as the preference was by Jose Garza, they're not going to have a jury looking out for somebody to hang. And as far as I'm concerned, that is a happy story. The other thing that I have to acknowledge right now is that there were 6 soldiers now having been killed in Operation Epic Fury, and 4 soldiers were identified. I'm sure that's because their next of kin were reached, and apparently the other 2 have not. The gentleman on top, Captain Cody Cork, died in a drone attack. Sergeant First Class Nicole Amor and 5 other reserves were killed in a drone attack in Kuwait. Sergeant First Class Noah Teachins was killed, and Sergeant Declan Cody was also killed. As far as I know, there's no other information about the other 2 Americans that were killed. So, sadly, a moment of silence for them, and then we're going to get directly into this update with regard to Epic Fury. Now, a lot of people are saying it's a multi-level maneuvering board that Donald John Trump is playing. And he has numerous pieces on the board. And somehow he has to coordinate with all the persons in his cabinet, in his Department of War, his Secretary of State, et al. And it's an extremely complicated affair to pull all of this together. Now, it was pulled together in terms of the snatching of Maduro. That was an amazing operation that went like clockwork. And the other thing that I care to point out is people are saying now, well, okay, I will let Marco Rubio speak for himself. I'm not going to try to put words in his mouth. But people are saying, okay, China bought 90% of Iranian oil and 40% from Venezuela. So this guy says, anybody that says Israel sucked us into another war has no understanding of geopolitics or how President Trump plays ball. I mean, anybody going up against Trump, read his damn book. Everything is a negotiation. Everything is a deal. And he hardlines when he's attempted to make a deal and you don't respond. And that, in this case, would be Iran. And so some people have said and are playing the, well, it's all for petroleum game. Yeah, in a way, but it's also about terrorism, a massive sponsor of terrorism, and how all of these things are intricate. And in the process of attempting to assemble the show tonight, and I published this in an X post, and you can see my X handle right down here if you ever want to go to see what. I mean, if you go to X, you're going to see what's going to be on the show, because the source of the greatest portion of my show is, in fact, X. But that's all I use social media for. I mostly couldn't give a crap less about making friends. I got enough. Actually, I have maybe 2 or 3. My wife's one of them, and I don't need any more. I have lots of associates, but only a true, real handful of friends. Sean, the people at SHR, etc. But people that I want to pull in, I'm not there for the numbers, and I'm not there for the followers. Mostly couldn't give a shit less. I'm there. I use social media as a repository, generally, of what I'm going to be speaking about on the show. Oh, I've spilled it. Damn it, Jim. I've spilled how I work. But then in the process of trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about for the show, I found something weird. There's a thing called the People's Forum. And it turns out they're a New York-based nonprofit. And they're funding all of these protests that are going on. And it's found that, well, hey, just about everything is traced back to this guy that I told you about last week, named Neville Singham. And he's a lover of China. And he lives in Shanghai. And he was here. He's an expatriate, loves the communist Chinese, and hates America. So he sent $20 million. I forgot this. Oddly enough, he's married to, you may or may not remember this individual. He's married to a chick named Jody Evans. And if you go back and, into the Wayback Machine and Peabody, she's the founder of Code Pink. So, you really have to begin to ask yourself, why is China going to fund protests in America? Because, China happens to be our number one enemy. It's not Russia. It's not North Korea. They're players, but they're not the biggest players, and they're not the biggest enemy. So why is our biggest enemy China funding a bunch of protests in America? And also the stepladder of petroleum. So when you hit Iran, you hopefully stop the missile production and the capability of Iran to reach out and touch someone, depending upon which missile they have and use, and to stop being the state sponsor of terrorism all over the planet, in the US, all across the globe, and Europe. And so China, it works on the terrorist aspect. It works on the muzzy aspect. But it also works on the, hey, look, we're accomplishing a couple of things at once, which I think, frankly, is way cool. So China imports 70% of that oil that it requires just to function and make its military role. So China is, you would think, it's a massive petroleum producer. No, it's not. 70% of that it imports to make everything work doesn't come from within. Oh, shoot, no. Okay. 5% of China's oil imports came from Venezuela. And here's also the gig is China made up 50% of Venezuela's exports. So when you shut down Venezuela and kicked an unelected piece of shit like Maduro out, then you also went on the valve and the spigot, which shipped oil directly to China. And I'm going to have to stop doing this. I'm doing it way too much, but wait, I'm not finished. There's more. Venezuela was so important to China that it turns out China shipped CCC military radars over to Venezuela in order to protect Venezuela, which apparently didn't work really well during the U.S. raid. Okay, but now the Venezuela tap is fini. He's gone. So China funded protests in the U.S. when Maduro was snatched, and Trump followed up with a naval blockade of Venezuela, making sure that all those ships that were shipping oil to China, no mas. We're not shipping that shit no more. So U.S. oil companies, and this is also an interesting point, they went into Venezuela in order to repair the crappy oil infrastructure which Venezuela had, because they could do anything that a dictator could do, but repair stuff and make buses run and oil function, not so much. Okay, but it didn't go to China anymore. It just ceased. Cool. I like that a lot. So U.S. oil companies went in, they're fixing that stuff. And now within 24 hours of this, if I can find it, Operation Epic Fury, which is what we're talking about tonight. And we're talking about why the love of evil. And you'll see, these dudes are evil. You know, the Ali Khomeini son, Moshtaba, you have to ask yourself, okay, what's this fucker's half-life? Today? Tomorrow? Next week? Who the hell knows? So anyway, protests, so they spontaneously erupt all across the fruited plain. Okay, this time, though, those protests are supporting Iran. But wait, China also depends on Iran for a really good portion of its oil as well. And so that's now over, because numbers are important, gang. That's now over 20% of China's total oil supply that's impacted. Paid for, by the way, kids, by the yen, but not by the US dollar. Courtesy of BRICS, look it up. So 90% of the oil leaving Iran was going to China. And that's when I say, hey, wait, do you see how all this stuff just kind of tends to dovetail together? Don't you? Are you like me? Don't you think that's weird? What a weird coinkydink.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log. Intrigue. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wonder is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, spends time or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. It's the end of the first hour. It is 9:04 p.m. Pacific, which means it's 11:04 Central and midnight 04 on the far east coast of the United States. Well, apparently, according to the numbers, and you can't see it, but I'm looking over way up here on my display, and it shows about 200 people listening live. That could be bullshit. I don't know anymore, because predominantly social media hates conservatives. How weird. It's so weird. But the show tonight, as I indicated, is, okay, why are leftists and pretty much everybody in love with evil? If it weren't for the fact that mostly, I guess, evil pays. Speaking of evil, now, if you're the New York Times and you decide that you want to have someone feted, wouldn't you put this piece of ragged shit on your front cover and say something like, oh, look, Ali Khomeini, a hardline cleric who made Iran a regional power, dies at 86. So they're feting that guy. The guy, and they said, oh, he was a cleric. No, was the T word used in any of this? Like he's a terrorist or a sponsor of terror or anything like that? No, you wouldn't want to say anything bad about him. So this dude executed tens of thousands of innocent people for the crime of disagreeing with him. Most recently, on the streets of Iran, I'm guessing predominantly Tehran, and the estimates have ranged from 30,000 killed in the past month or so to 40,000 to some of the people that I was listening to and I played on Sunday with Rick Robinson and a cast of thousands from SHR, who said, well, the true numbers are up to 50,000. And what an accomplishment. And that's only recently. And that's who these people are supporting. If it's bad or wrong or evil, the Democrats and the Muzzies and the leftists and the anarchists and the black-robed anarchist judges will support it, because as far as they're concerned, it's their job, man. So then, if you remember the headline from the Times, Charlie Kirk, right-wing force and a close Trump ally, dies at 31. No word in there about the A word assassinated essentially on live video for all to see and thousands to see, hundreds immediately in front of him. Weird. You know, would it be different for the New York Times if this guy was some kind of a left-wing ruler of America when he did it? Well, hell, that'd probably be okay. Don't you think? Evil, let me tell you, in my 41, almost 42 years in law enforcement, there is such a thing as evil. Leftists, the stupid people, idiots, don't believe that there is such a thing as evil. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've arrested it. I've booked it. I've had it shoot at me, and I've shot back and killed it. And I still have little dream theater nodes popping off in my brain on occasion, just to make shit entertaining, because without that, shit wouldn't be quite so entertaining, would it? But evil exists. And you know why evil exists? I can tell you in maybe a sentence or so. It exists because it's easy and it's fun. As a parent, I ask you, what's easier? Telling your child, no, or telling your child, yeah, okay, you can do that. Well, yes is a lot easier, isn't it? So you're priming your kids. You may not think you're priming your kids, but you're priming your guy. I could go on and do another show about evil, but I wanted Dr. Evil, millions. Let me put this to the stage. Okay. So maybe people think it's a poor job of messaging, or maybe it's because the American media maggots didn't feel like covering it appropriately. But people said, hey, did you go in because of Israel? And in about a minute, this is Marco Rubio, a Secretary of State's response.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran and that that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked.
Okay. No, were you the one that, because somebody asked me a question and said, did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that, that follow-up. And I said, no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program, that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations, and that this was a threat that was untenable, the decision was made to strike them.
That's what Donald said. He wants to get people together. He wants to make deals. He wants to negotiate. And the terms may and probably do change. But if you set Donald on ignore mode, that won't play well. And all the presidents prior to him, including Barack Hussein Obama, if I get to these, I'll play these videos. I'm going to miss a lot of stuff. But on the other hand, this is why I love my show, because I've got 2 hours to do what I want, when I want, and to go into a little bit more depth with regard to a lot of the issues that are concerned. And that's why I don't mind playing a video that's a minute long, 2 minutes long. Occasionally I played a 5 to 10 minute video because it's my show and I got the time and I don't have to keep pumping the brakes and moving to something else. And yet, and still, I look at my tab supply up there, and that's not cola. And I go, I'm not going to get to all of this. Go.
That's what I said yesterday, and you guys need to play it. If you're going to play these statements, you need to play the whole statement, not clip it to reach a narrative that you want to do, all right?
But that's wrong. That's what they want to do. That's what the American media maggots exist to do, is just play and clip what they want that proves them. So then Marco Polo decides that he's going to treat the kids like kids. So kids, go.
Congress. Our notification, listen, let me explain to you guys this in simple English, okay? Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics.
Oh, wait, stop first. What is wrong with my bell? It's not belling very well. Maybe I need a new bell.
They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision.
I actually heard someone on the left say something similar to, I'm paraphrasing, well, you took advantage. I almost can't believe I'm repeating this for you, or that they said it in the first place. I don't remember who it was. And it's immaterial. You took advantage of a country that was weaker than you are. Hello? A, timing. B, that's the fucking point. Read Clausewitz. Read Sun Tzu, you moron.
Decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their Navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make
speaking of Navy, they have no ships left.
Those things so that they can never have
But like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, they do make great reefs.
a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision, and the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how they're using them now. Imagine how they would use them a year from now if they had more of these. Right?
That's the point. That's the whole point. And so no one decided that they were going to address any of these issues. And all the Democrats did prior to Donald is embolden Iran. I know, let's send them massive packages, billions, multiple billions of dollars that were spent by Iran and Khomeini. I see Khomeini, Khomeini, and the first thing I think of is lo mein. I don't know why. Call me wacky, call me weird, don't call me late for dinner. I see that, and I think, okay, that's the job. And as I've said before, and when I was speaking to Lyle Armstrong, and we'll get to when his show is, I had him on the show, and we both agreed unanimously, immediately. You know, the job of the military is to kill people and break shit. And if you're not interested in killing people and breaking shit, do not apply our most beloved military. Because if you're not going to allow them to win, then you're going to get massive casualties. Oh, that is such a topic for another day that I don't have nearly the amount of time to go into right now. But our brothers and sisters who are in the military, oh my God. And you know, you talk about evil and the people, the word hypocrisy wouldn't, for example, be in the dictionary at all if it weren't for the prompting of leftists and Democrats. And if that was ever a truth, that truth is here, that truth is now. Here's Senator Mark Wayne Mullins talking to Democrat senators. It's 4 minutes. Will I play it all? Well, until I'm pretty sure that you grok the concept.
Thank you, Chairman. I just feel like I need to respond to some things that the senator was bringing up by accusing the president of.
Okay, stop. See the guy in the far. Mikhail, stop. See the guy on the far left in the white shirt over there? That's Mark Wayne Mullins. Go.
Of pulling out of a nuclear deal in his first term. It was a horrible deal. It was a disastrous deal. It was a deal that we all know that would originally allow Iran to be able to have enrichment to the grade that they could make a nuclear weapon. And then for the senator that was saying,
okay, this is what I have never understood. I've never understood. And some Republicans embraced this. I don't understand them either. Who would ever try to be conciliatory to Iran or essentially any Muzzy nation, but mostly to Iran, when historically, and we have historical Alzheimer's as a civilization, as the United States, as the European Union, as the UK, etc. And you think that Iran is going to do it? You tell me, please, what deal or charter or codicil that Iran has kept in the history of history? I'll wait right here, and the answer is nothing. Why would we want to cede anything to the state sponsor of global terrorism, much less send them billions of dollars that were so heavy on pallets that it required, by weight and volume, a C-17 to fly into Iran in the dead of night? Because that money was used by Iran to kill American soldiers.
to the president needs to come back for reauthorization. I don't remember him saying anything in 2016 when Barack Obama at the time dropped 26,000 bombs in Syria, Pakistan, Libya, just to name a few.
But that's okay.
I definitely don't remember my colleagues in 2013 at all complaining about the president then Barack Obama, going into Syria. And I would like to ask the question then, what threat did Syria have to the United States? What threat did Libya have to the United States during the Arab Spring, to which these leaders were removed? And then I would ask the question,
well, it's just kind of cool to kill Gaddafi, I guess. Hey, you know why Gaddafi came around? Anybody remember this? We flew some wide-ass, big-winged F-111s and killed his sons in tents. And only after that did Muammar Gaddafi, spelled about 75 different ways, only then did he begin to come around to Western nations, because he figured, oh, I guess you can reach out and touch my family occasionally.
What threat did Iran have to us? Do we really need to talk about it? Do we need to talk about how many times they've killed thousands of Americans since 1979?
Shall I point something out here? Now, when Democrats have a point of contention, they bark back immediately. You can't say that. Or, if you had Omar or Biff Clemson out there, or any of the other gang of 75 idiots on the Democrat side, they'd be barking like crazy, disagreeing with the facts and the figures with him or anybody else. Hey, kids, kind of quiet.
From the first time they took hostages in November of 1979 to the last time they attacked us in June of 2025. And anybody wants to doubt that they were a threat to us, an essential threat to us? Does anybody doubt on that side of the aisle? Does anybody doubt that Iran, if or when they got a nuclear weapon, would deliver it to the United States if they have the capability of doing it?
Oh, sure they would. In a ship, just as a present for us. Look what we made. We are here to give this to you as a present. No, they'd drop it through the air in an ICBM. In also a loving fashion.
Does anybody deny that the fact that the president was being proactive on an adversary that has been chanting death to America since 1979?
But they don't really mean it. Democrats and leftists don't take these shit stick, asshole, muzzies at their word. They're not kidding. They're not ribbing. They're not joshing.
Does anybody deny that Iran was a threat to us and our service members? Or do we have to remind you how many they've injured and killed through their proxies and through direct action?
Or if you're stupid and you pull out your soldiers first and close Bagram as you leave Afghanistan, they're not going to take advantage of that. And they're not going to blow up 13 of our beloved soldiers. They wouldn't do that, would they?
This is the first president in 7 presidencies that actually did something about the thorn that constantly came after us.
Also notice, I should care to point out that there is some unanimity in terms of Democrats and leftists, even the UK, portions of the EU, of persons who have said, well, we mostly concur that Khomeini and Iran are bad and something needs to be done. I'm telling you, damn it, something needs to be done about these guys because they're bad. Well, wait, we didn't mean violence.
And now you criticizing and you say it's illegal? It's not. This same authorization is the same authorization that Democrats and Republican presidents in the past have used. And thank God we had a president with a backbone to finally get rid of this murderous regime. And now we're complaining about it? Remember, legally, he has to respond to Congress or inform Congress within 48 hours. That has happened.
He informed 7 of 8 senators for whatever reason. He couldn't get a hold of the other one. Job done. Move on. Next.
And then within 60 to 90 days, he needs to inform Congress if we're going to war and ask for specific war authorities. But the president, through Article 2, clearly has an obligation and the powers under the Constitution to defend our interests home and abroad. And there is no question he's defending our interest.
Stop. There's another 2 minutes behind this. And there are so many other things that I would like to go to at this point other than him. But I think you have gotten the concept that he has wanted to deliver. The EU didn't do it. The UK, Starmer is a spineless piece of shit. Most of the EU is a similar invertebrate. And then you have someone like Donald Trump. That's, by the way, Lil Kim saying that. Donald has guts. And Lil Kim is saying, Donald, you're not mad with you, right? What other president would state the obvious? Here's 30 seconds of what BZ considers to be a massive pile of obviosity.
You have places where in the UK, you have a terrible mayor of London, terrible. He's an incompetent guy.
Bingo.
But you have Sharia courts. You don't have Sharia courts. You don't want Sharia courts. You have Sharia courts adjudicating law.
Okay, this is funny because when you look that up, you have, there are no Sharia courts. Ask the people in the UK, not the people who have a point or a bias or are agendized. There are those. That's just like the people in Germany under Angela Merkel, who basically will be responsible for having sunk the entire EU, who've said, there's no such thing as no-go zones. You're just crazy. You're tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracists. There were.
So it's very simple. Immigration, very importantly, immigration and energy. And you bring it back. Otherwise, you're not going to bring it back. Okay. One more. Go ahead.
What other president would say that? What other president would have the guts to state the obvious about Islam? Mostly none that I could state, but it's the truth. And what other president would have the balls to be able to say this? You know what? You're not going to play along with me, Spain. How about if I just stop trade with you? As far as I'm concerned, well, that's a damn Skippy Happy story. And that ship has apparently sailed. Now, there are what I would consider a handful of journalists anymore that are halfway decent in the United States. John Solomon is one of them. Catherine Herridge happens to be another one of those. And I've heard some people say, well, I don't have the graphic to put up right now, but some people have said, well, the ICBMs, they don't have the ability to reach all these great distances. Well, they already have the ability to reach Israel, and they've already dropped on Tel Aviv and all points in between. Here's Catherine Herridge. And she points out here, and by the way, as I've said before, and I will say again, I put all of these articles, videos, etc., if you doubt me, up in the Rumble side, the horizontal, the landscape portion of the show. I do it in portrait on YouTube, in vertical in YouTube, but on Rumble, I do it in horizontal. And under Rumble, when you look at the show after I've stopped, if you want to find out all the articles I talked about, all the videos that I showed, they're right there. It's like, dude, I don't need to make this shit up. I couldn't. I have a fairly creative brain, but for God's sake, it's not that creative. And just when you think none of this shite could be worse, it turns out that it's worse. Anyway, Catherine Herridge, Operation Epic Fury, why Iran's ballistic missile force remains the greatest threat. There are military testing memos. There are strong evidence Iran experimented with and deployed contaminated or dirty warheads against U.S. forces as early as January 2020. Parenthesis, just to see what happens, end of parenthesis. So she obtained the memos as part of an investigation into the toxic fallout of Iran's 2020 ballistic missile strike on U.S. forces at the Al-Assad base in Iraq. So 3 independent environmental experts who reviewed all the military information and the records told us actinium 228, bismuth 214, and cesium 137, not radioactive at all, seemed out of place with a conventional warhead. Imagine that. Well, you can read this at your leisure, but I'm going to put this up. There's the memorandum. No, BZ does not need to make this stuff up. There's more of the memorandum. No, BZ does not need to make any of this stuff up. Not only does it kind of sort of write itself, but then for example, why these people love evil. They are evil. That's the point of the show. Why the love of evil? Because it's enriching, it's easy, and it's profitable. And that's, of course, why we're talking about these guys. This is Epic Fury Updates. Oh, Lord, please get me through to the cool videos that I do want to play. And okay, this is a happy story. It's like the dude that I mentioned in the first half hour, Ali Khomeini's son, Moshtaba, he's named Iran's new supreme leader. And as I said then, I'll say now, hey, I wonder what his half-life is going to be. A day? A week at most.
The scene of one of these cluster munition impacts just outside of Tel Aviv. But I'm told by a senior Israeli official that the Israelis just struck the Supreme Council gathering where the Iranians were meeting to choose a new supreme leader. This is a significant development and again speaks to the Israeli intelligence about this war. They just targeted the meeting in Tehran where what's left of the leadership was gathering to choose a new supreme leader. The Iranians are continuing their attacks against...
So apparently they're going to have to scrape that 88 off the concrete. And there probably isn't that much left. I mean, I quantify that seriously as a happy story. And as I'm sure you would too, being the happy, positive, plus thinking individuals that you are. Oh, hey, look, I am going to be getting to this stuff. Oh, this is way cool. BZ, I can't wait.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And folks, it's the final half hour of the show. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you, all of us, one of us, and all of us. From me of us to you of us, and all of you at the points in between. And drink up, if you would please, citizens of the planet, you vertical bipeds. Recognize that the saloon is going to be closed in about a half hour or so. So that's, of course, when I always say,
Folks, this is BZ's final hour. Step up. Last call for alcohol.
And please, if you will, do in fact step up. I said I had some videos for you. Sadly, fortunately, or unfortunately, as I mentioned, the hypocrisy And as I mentioned originally, as the essential theme for the show tonight being, hey, why the love of evil? Because if Donard is evil, then aren't there a lot of other people that are evil as well? Wait, would it be possible, because I do scour the internet as much as humanly possible, that I bring various videos and stories to you, and this happens to be one of them. This is HRC talking about Iran. I'm sure it's in a loving fashion.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
So that's HRC saying that. But isn't it weird, don't you think, that that's acceptable, and making the threat to Iran, years ago in a 2008 interview, and she's saying in no uncertain words, well, I'm going to be a direct threat to Iran. See, this is, folks, as you well know, this is why the fat guy loves the internet, because mostly, although sometimes, this shit doesn't disappear. But you got to want to dig it. First, you got to want to find it. And that leaves out the bulk of the American media maggots. No, they say, holding it arm's length. No, we don't want to hear this stuff. We don't want to know what's happening. We don't want to have this stuff smacked up the side of our face again. Oh, no. And so you may or may not have seen this video. This is Nancy Pelosi. I think this is 2012, right around there. It's from C-SPAN 3. And then she's talking about, authorization. Well, and she said, Obama needed authorization to bomb Libya and kill Gaddafi. Because that's what she said. She said Obama needed the authorization to do that. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what she said.
So, Madam Speaker, or Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Well, that's pretty succinct. But again, that's okay. Because we're talking about a Democrat. We're not talking about Donard. We're talking about, Democrats, and they're good. And speaking of Obama, August of 2015, what did he have to say? I think I'll give some money away.
It is true that if Iran lives up to its commitments, it will gain access to roughly $56 billion of its own money. But the notion that this will be a game changer, with all this money funneled into Iran's pernicious activities, misses the reality of Iran's current situation. Iran's leaders have raised the expectations of their people that sanctions relief will improve their lives. Even a repressive regime like Iran's cannot completely ignore those expectations. And that's why our best analysts expect the bulk of this revenue to go into spending that improves the economy and benefits the lives of the Iranian people.
And that's why morons like that don't believe in evil. They believe at their heart, everybody is good. And evil doesn't exist. And we're all here on this planet, so we're all going to be good. And we're all going to acknowledge that we're all going to be good. We don't believe in religion. We don't need religion. We just need to believe in the inherent goodness of individuals. And if you have a nice even table upon which you can arrange any number of chairs, say 10, 12, 2, 3, if you just present your enemy with a nice cup of chai, or in my case, perhaps some vodka, which I haven't had any of tonight. And that's why that's my mug of perniciousness, because I haven't even had the availability to drink any of this tonight. Don't think I won't change that when the show concludes. And it will, of course. So that again is why the show is about, why the love of evil? Why? And again, why would you want to conduct any negotiations with people that have historically wanted to kill Americans 24/7 all the time? Hot and cold running, tissue shredding Americans. That's so much fun. And they've never held their word. So here you go. Multiple billions of dollars for you. And a car for you, and a car for you, and a car for you, and billions for you. And that all came back to kill Americans. And that fucking idiot wasn't smart enough. A 5-year-old, like I said about the pullout from Afghanistan and abandoning Bagram Air Force Base first, which was a secure airport and facility, and evacuated all the soldiers first, gave Bagram back first. A 5-year-old could have said, hey, Lloyd Austin, Mark Milley, that's really idiotic. Hey, you're going to get some Americans killed. 13 dead Americans later. Barack Hussein Obama, I know, I'll present all this money to Iran, and that will indicate my goodwill, which will result in their goodwill too. They'll just stop their programs. Well, we sent a bunker buster in to stop their program, and then the first thing they said was, "You will not stop us. We're going to continue." All right. Here I am talking like some kind of a rancid Pakistani. I don't have a good Middle Eastern voice, okay? All I've got is Prakim and Prakash. You'll not stop us from our wanting to enrich uranium, because we're going to do what the hell we ever want to do, when we want to do it. And that's true. What do I have? I got about 16 minutes left. I got to tell you about this. This is, in fact, a happy story. This is not evil. This is just a good story that happened. It's a little disappointing, and I'll tell you why in a moment. This is from SCOTUS blog. So the headline here is "Court Sides with Parents." I mean, the transition from, talking about Obama to SCOTUS, I know it was a little harsh. I hope you were wearing a neck brace when I did that, because it's like, oh God, whiplash, PC, be nicer. Court sides with parents in dispute over California policies on transgender parents. Okay, well, what does that mean? So the Supreme Court yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court, not the California Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, granted a request from a group of California parents, KALIFAILURE parents, to reinstate a ruling by the federal district court that prohibits schools in California from misleading parents about their children's gender presentation. So that was a law in California. Parents cannot be notified of public schools, parenthesis, government schools, deciding that arbitrarily and capriciously, well, we're not going to notify you, the parent of the child, that, at school, there's Shirley or Mustafa, when Mustafa is Shirley and Shirley is Mustafa, because that's what they want, like a peg-legged pirate. Arr, matey. S after that, then perhaps T. So parents weren't allowed to know about their kids' proclivities that were being pushed by leftists in said schools. And now it requires parents to follow, it requires schools to follow parents' instructions regarding the names and pronouns that children want to use in there. I don't feel like a Timmy today. I feel like a Jennifer Wagenhals. What if? Okay. Jimmy, Timmy, Mustafa, that's just fine. And the majority explained that the parents were likely to prevail on their claim that California policies violate the parents' right to exercise free speech. Okay, so that's that. It was I think a 6-3 ruling. And let's see, wait. Tell me in chat, who do you think dissented on this? First off, do you think it was KJB, Ketanji Brown Jackson? Well, yeah, she was the first to dissent, and Elena Kagan. She argued that Monday's ruling shows, not for the first time, how our emergency docket can malfunction. As far as I'm concerned, this is a happy story, and it's a happy story for parents all across California. That's a big thing. That's a positive thing. I'm going to play a video, which again goes back to this. Why the love of evil? Well, this was called foreshadowing. And you may or may not, I don't know. I'm not you. And you sure as hell wouldn't want to be me. I don't have that much longer to live. And I hate technology. I'm sure you love it. But this was a foreshadowing of if we lose, say, a bunch of primaries and we don't get the right people and we lose the midterms, people are coming out directly and they're saying, okay, this is Democrats. This is what we're going to do. And that's why Democrats and Islamists and Muzzies, there isn't a dime's difference between them. But you don't listen to them to the disadvantage of your own personal and psychic health. Because when Muzzies say, we want to kill you because you're the infidel, and you go, there's no evil in the world, and they don't really mean that. And then when Susan Rice says, we're going to slaughter your ass, they're just kidding. Don't take her at their word. Don't take her at her word. Don't take Islam at its word. Okay. And she says, quite frankly, am I going to play this? Yeah, I got enough time to play most of this. Basically, this is Susan Rice saying that, it ain't going to end well for you.
But when it comes to the elites, the corporate interests, the law firms, the universities, the media, I agree with you, Preet. It is not, it's not going to end well for them. For those that decided that it was, that they would act in their perceived very narrow self-interest, which
Okay. Anybody remember Chuck Schumer saying, SCOTUS, and I'm paraphrasing, SCOTUS, you're going to hell. I'm going to rain hellfire down upon you. Well, it's Susan Rice saying the same thing. If you don't shape up, we're going to ship you out. If you don't completely comply with what it is that we demand, comma, just like Islam, comma, we'll make sure that you burn. Now, she can't shoot you in the head like a Muslim can, but she'll make sure that your life is at its possible worst. All you lawyers, all you corporations. Well, she loves lawyers when they're working for her. She loves the corporations when they're making bank. And Pelosi loves them too when she's using insider trading. And you can't tell me that there isn't one of these assholes that doesn't use insider trading. Go.
What underscores very short-term self-interest. And, take a knee to Trump.
Because Susan Rice never acts in her own self-interest. She's Mother Teresa. She's the Mother Teresa of Democrats.
I think they're now starting to realize, wait a minute, this is not popular. Trump is not popular. What he is doing, whether on the economy and affordability or on immigration now, is not popular. And that there is likely to be.
Well, wait, slavery. You loved slavery. Democrats loved slavery. That was popular. So that means, because I speak leftist, so I'll translate. What that means is, well, if it's popular with you, that's okay. So in those words, I guess essentially slavery was okay too, right? And really, somebody's got to pick the cotton. And just like leftists and Democrats are saying, somebody's got to mow our lawns. Somebody's got to change our sheets. Somebody's got to wash those dishes.
A swing in the other direction, and they are going to be caught with more than their pants down. They're going to be held accountable by those who come in opposition to Trump and win at the ballot box. And I can tell you, Preet, as I talk to leaders in Washington, leaders in our party, leaders in the states, if these corporations think that the Democrats, when they come back in power, are going to, play by the old rules and say, oh, never mind, we'll forgive you for all the people you fired, all the policies and principles you've violated, all the laws you've skirted. I think they've got another thing coming.
Okay, stop. Let's look up north just for a second. Look up there. Go ahead. What's up there? Canada. Canada's up there. Trudeau was up there, and this occurred under Trudeau. And then it also occurred here briefly until there was a power change. When a government doesn't like what you're doing, what's one of the first things that during the truck rallies, Canada decided by way and dint of Trudeau, what's the first thing that they did? Oh, that's right. They debanked them. They removed your ability to sustain yourself. That also happened to Trump. Anyone remember that? So Trump has a lot of money to be able to get back. I think it was Citibank. The story is in there. I probably won't get to it. But he was debanked. Now, do you possibly think that unless you are entirely 110% in lockstep with the Democrats, that they wouldn't pass a bill to say that if we don't like your way of thinking, we'll simply ensure, as we tried to do during Wuhan 19, that if you're not in compliance, well, you just won't be allowed to be a member of society. And what if we force CBDC? We can shut that down too. Anything digital can be stopped and halted. And so truckers were debanked. And imagine that. It worked because the government, their leftist oppressive government, well, stopped it. Now, do you possibly think that as you look into this bint's eyes, that she wouldn't slay you truly and metaphorically if she could? Those are knives issuing forth right there. And folks, this is the look of evil. I've seen it. I've smelled it. I've booked it. I've arrested it. I've shot at it. I know it, what it looks like. Now, is she a serial killer? I'm not saying that. Does she burn kittens because she doesn't like the name of the next door neighbor's cat? I don't know. I'm not saying she does. But I'm saying that if you give her a molecule, she'll take 10 miles. And they are hankering to come back and make your life a living hell.
Because, just like when Trump thought, okay, I'll redistrict and the Democrats won't have the guts to play hardball.
The Democrats have been redistricting all over in blue states for years. And at this point, I decide that perhaps this is, I think I've illustrated adequately the point right there. And let me see if I can go to this here just for a second. These were, by the way, you do realize that the government is shut down right now, right? And Democrats shut down the government, even though ICE was funded and still continues to be funded from the big, beautiful, bulbous bill. That's bequatted from BZ. Thank you. I take a bow. I'll be here all night. Please tip your waitress. And they shut down the government, even though they're not touching ICE. Now they shut down DHS and the Coast Guard at a time when there are terrorism alerts. But that's okay. That's no big deal. So here's what the Democrats wanted. Well, I'm sorry, not wanted, demanded, if you didn't hear this, about ICE. And these are just bullet points. DHS officers cannot enter private property without a judicial warrant. End indiscriminate arrests and improve warrant procedures and standards. Require verification that a person is not a U.S. citizen before holding them in immigration detention. Okay, these are called holds. Now, if you insist that everything is going to be done by a warrant, then there won't be any fucking illegal invaders kicked out of this country. And guess what? That's the point. No masks. Prohibit ICE and immigration enforcement agents from wearing face coverings so that you can dox the shit out of them individually and their families as well. And then that yields open violence to them. And an individual cannot defend themselves or their families against a crowd of, I don't know, who would they send to your house? I don't know, 50, 100, 200. Requires DHS officers conducting immigration enforcement to display their agency, unique ID number, and last name. Require them to verbalize their ID number and last name if asked. It's all over them already. Prohibit funds from being used to conduct enforcement near sensitive locations, including medical facilities, schools, childcare facilities, churches, polling places, courts, etc. Do you know why they go there? Because sanctuary cities and sanctuary states have said, we're not cooperating. Individually, beforehand, you see, ICE could go into custodial facilities and yank these assholes out. But because you're a sanctuary city, county, state, etc., they can no longer go in there. So what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to go to the points of apprehension where these little fuckers live. Stop racial profiling. Because there are so many Swedes and Frenchmen invading this country. Anyway, blah, 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 and the blah, blah for the blah, blah, etc. And so Democrats passed all the immigration laws that they now oppose. So the INA, the Immigration and Nationality Act in 1952 passed. Immigration and Nationality Act amendments, 1965 passed. Immigration Reform and Control Act, IRCA 1986 passed. Immigration Act 1990, Democrat House and Senate passed. Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act 1996 passed. That's okay. Things are different now. Things are way different. So for the finality, I may end up going a few minutes over. Just to make this one final point, because this, folks, if you love Virginia, state of, and you love Spanberger, because she now controls the legislature and the governor's office in Virginia, these are the bills they passed. I'll just put them up here for a second. And then we'll be ending the show, because this is what you're going to get. And you're going to get more of New York. You're going to get more of Mom Donnie, or Dad Donnie. How come there's a mom, but there isn't a dad in Donnie? No, not Donnie, Donnard. Come on, get it right. So here's some of the bills they passed in Virginia. New 4.3% sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon, and deliveries. New sales tax on admissions to a wide variety of businesses. 2 new higher tax brackets of 8% and 10% on people making over $600K. Well, actually, oddly enough, that's some of them too. A new 10% tax bracket for anybody making over $1 million. 3 and the people that are wealthy exit stage left from Virginia. 3.8 investment tax on top of state income taxes. Going to raise the hotel tax. New personal property tax on landscaping equipment. Ban gas-powered leaf blowers. Guarantee illegal aliens free education. Make it illegal to approach anybody at an abortion clinic. Extend the, but a house of God, that's okay. Make it illegal to extend, you have to extend the time absentee ballots can be received after an election day to 3 days. And people need to be able to cast their votes electronically through the internet, because the digital way to go, that can't be hacked. Dominion, can it? Oh, come on, perish the thought. Ranked choice voting expanded. Expand the deadline for ballot curing to 1 week after Election Day. Redact the addresses of political candidates. Are the clouds parting now? Redact the addresses of political candidates from Freedom of Information Act inquiries. Add Virginia to the National Popular Vote Compact for presidential electors. Make it illegal to hand count ballots. $500 sales tax on firearm suppressors, assault weapons, quotes, air quotes, and large capacity magazine ban, 11% sales tax on all firearms and ammunition, prohibit outdoor shooting of a firearm on land less than 5 acres. It's your land, but you better be a land baron to shoot your own fucking gun. Lower the criminal penalties for robbery, ban the arrest of illegal aliens in courthouses, because they learned from that idiot judge that got arrested who didn't obey the law, but it's a story for another time, okay? Remove mandatory minimum sentences, allow localities to install speed cameras, and replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day ad nauseum, and so on, so weiter. That's just to start. And folks, I want to sort of end with this, if I may. Only because I just remembered it now, so I'm sorry. It's going a little bit longer than 5 minutes after. It's 4 minutes after. Damn me. Wait a minute. Slap my wrist. That was a bad slap. I could have done it better, but I just wasn't motivated. So I asked somebody that I happen to know personally that is married to somebody from Iran. And I said, what do you think about this? What do you think about all the stuff that's going on in Iran? Do you think the Iranian people are going to rise up and try to fill the vacuum? And the response was, well, I don't think anybody except the Iranians know that. But I want you to remember and know that the regime killed tens of thousands of protesters earlier, and no one, well, he said, one has to wonder if they culled those first who would rise up in the first place. And that's interesting. I never thought that. I should have thought about that possibility. So they essentially went out of their way to cull the people and kill the people that would have been the first to resist. So obviously they had to be the first to go. The demonstrations in LA have been very supportive. But the dealio is, they pointed out, the Democrats are bitching about all of this because Trump is actually getting the credit. You know, all about the rescues of dogs and cats and nothing on Iran. But I found that an interesting aspect. Was it purposeful, intentional to make sure that you killed the protesters first? Because also, as you know, the only two elements of individuals in Iran who can have firearms are the military and the police. And that's it. Citizens, NDW, no damn way. But I thought that was interesting. Okay, kill the bad actors first, and the rest of the population will fall in line. So I don't know. You got to ask: is that true? And is that what was accomplished? And why? For example. So thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for being here for the show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I've enjoyed your presence here, and we were live and direct. Still, we are live and direct in the SHR Media Nof, Idaho studio. Thanks to KLRN and to the people who watched live in all sorts of various places, and to those who will end up watching this later in podcast. And of course, subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel. And we've got great merch, great swag. Go back and see the first hour of the show, and you'll hear and read all about it. All about it. And of course, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, Shure and Electro Voice microphones. And also, if you would be so kind, let's go to the right one, Arrakis boards, who make my mixer, and Pratt & Whitney engines, whose little machines, they are dependable engines, and they create thrust you can trust. Tiaras tonight are by My Little Pony, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than about 10 minutes or so.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
Well, I haven't gone yet. That's because I have a few more things left to say. Jesus, BZ, let me. It's 1:09 p.m. on the East Coast. Let me go to damn sleep, would you please? Well, today is Tuesday. It's Tuesday night. Actually, it's Wednesday morning if you're on the East Coast. So what happens on Wednesday? Well, I should care to point out that on Wednesday, here on SHR, you can watch Sean on the Edge of Liberty, Monday and Wednesday nights, tonight, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern. And so, then the night after, well, hey, look who it is. Earl Big E Jackson comes back for the Mission Ready Men briefing, and you can see him this coming Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noonish Eastern. And then there's me, and I'll be back on Thursday night. And a programming note, I'll be speaking to the gentleman who wrote this book, Muzzled Truth, Ronald F. Owens Jr. And basically he was saying the state of California, state of failure, and the California Failure Department of Public Health, that it's more corrupt than you could possibly imagine. And essentially, Mr. Owens has said in other venues that the vaccines, they were poison. So that's me, Thursday night. And then Earl will have his show. And then, wait, there's more. Now, Jersey Joe had a show Monday night. And Friday, Jersey Joe will be back. But before Jersey Joe, there's our new guy. Oh, wait, no, after Jersey Joe. So Jersey Joe, who happens to be the reaver of common sense, if there's common sense to be reaved and ripped, he will do it. Because he himself is ripped. He is ripped, his abs, his chest, ripped like from today's screaming headlines. He doesn't wear his shirt, or he doesn't take off his shirt, because women would faint in his presence. So Jersey Joe, he of the Reaver of Common Sense, will be back Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. Eastern. But wait. Oh, wait. As BZ is wont to say, there's more. There's our newest gentleman, Lyle Armstrong, on his show, Beer and Bolstein. He is on Friday and Saturday nights, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I got it backwards. He's before Jersey Joe on Friday. I hang my head in shame. So I will repeat it again for those of you who may just have tuned in. Lyle Armstrong, Beer and Bolstein, Friday and Saturday nights, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So by God, ladies and gentlemen, by God, SHR has got a show for you Monday through Friday and now Saturday. And as far as I'm concerned, I think I've said all there is to be said with this important notation. Everybody, God bless. Take care and be safe. Good night.